So this video is for those who have been trying to spread the gospel to their friends, family members, or whoever. But you've become discouraged because you've seen nothing happen. And I've had this happen many times in my life as well. Back then, one of my best friends, he's still an atheist, as a matter of fact. I don't talk to him as much anymore. But while I was his best friend, and man, we were tight. That was my brother. We did everything together. We talked all the time. Man, I miss those times, but man, we were little old brothers. Cannot separate us. And since he wasn't a believer, I tried to, sneak some opportunities in there. Sometimes invite him to church, but he just kept dodging it. And sometimes spread the gospel a little bit. And yet nothing happened. But this scripture will help you with your discouragement. 1 Corinthians 3, 5 to 7. Who then is Paul, and who is Apollos, but ministers through whom you believed, as the Lord gave to each one? I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase. So that neither he who plants is anything, nor he who waters, but God who gives the increase. I'm going to keep it short, straight, simple. You can do your absolute best to spread the word and help as much as possible to someone, help someone, and yet nothing happens immediately because you are not in charge of God's work. You are just planting a seed. Someone else waters it, and God gives the increase. It's kind of like if someone would have if I was an atheist and someone just came to me and just tried to force the gospel to me, and I would politely reject them because it wasn't personal experience. I don't know if I'm making sense. But when someone tries to force something to me, it's kind of like, back off, bro. But just remember that if you're just trying and trying and trying, make sure to do your part, but let God do the rest. Many of us, and I learned this, I tried to do this with many people. You can't be God. Only He can do what He can do, and you can't do what He can do. So, sometimes all you're there for is just to be an example, to be a light, to show them that, to be an example of as a true Christian, I don't do these things, I don't drink, I don't party, these things, but I do them for the Lord. It's not because of religion, but you're just an example. And maybe later in the future, they look at that and they'd be like, I want that life because they seem so free. They seem so peaceful. They seem so happy. And I'm not. And that example that you provided to them can help them get closer to the Lord later in life at due time, in the perfect time, because that's how the Lord works. The Lord has appointed people, appointed experiences for people's lives, and the way they affect them is something you can't replicate through shoving the gospel into somebody. And I'm not saying this to stop doing what you're doing, but just to get you off that discouragement train. You're there to plant the seed. Someone else might water it, but the Lord is the one who gives the increase. Because even Paul, Apostle Paul, Come on. Even he can't force it to anyone. He can't do the Lord's work. But just remember this. Let God do his part, and you do yours. So as always, stay strong.